Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Shuffle Bus. I'm Jesse, your host, back here with another Ashteki Master Set tournament. This is my round two matchup. This week I am playing against Chaosmonkee and Noah. And Chaosmonkee and I had met in the AIL and had a really tense match in the AIL. And I was looking forward to being able to play with him again and see what he brought to the table from a master set perspective. We do end up in a Noah mirror match here. So, Noah on Noah. It really does come down to who's doing what. He is playing 4 nature dice, 3 illusion dice, and 3 ceremonial. I'm playing 2 nature, 5 illusion, and 3 ceremonial. So I'm a little deeper into the illusion side. He's a little deeper into the nature side. We'll see how that shakes up as we start to develop and first 5 into our game. Because of the summons in nature in the master set, basically I think we're looking at a lot of Gilders, a lot of, but he can't play Gilder because he's not charmed. So Butterfly Monk, and that's really about it. Mist Spirits, some of that stuff I think is really common to see with Noah's battlefield. Obviously the wolves are going to be there, so just kind of curious to see how his deck shapes up, and we'll go from there. So let's get this match started. Let's see how it goes, and I'll commentate as normal through the entire thing. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna mute the desktop audio. That way I can talk through the match. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward us here because we were chatting. So basically we start picking our first 5. Again, still really small, so I can't make out quite yet what we're doing because of this, but so I know I'm grabbing wolves. I know I'm grabbing my Mist Spirits. I don't remember what the other ready spell was at this point. I think it's a false demon, and then I think I go with a summon sleeping widows, and I think I end up going with a Mist Typhoon here, thinking that he might go wide with little guys, and I would just have the tech card for going wide against little guys. We'll see if that ultimately pays off, but working through that right now. Yeah, you can see me thinking about the Mist Typhoon right now. Because my other option would be to take on a Steady Gaze or play a Hammer Knight. I have the dice to play Hammer Knight in my first 5. So I go ahead and make that selection. And he rolls off and rolls out 2 basic to my 3 basic, so I get to choose. I'm going to let him go first. And the reason I do that is because I think I'm going to have a wide board at the end, and I want to have the opportunity to swing into an open board come round 2. Okay, so we're just getting things started here. Ashteki's a little funky about things in the first round because you actually have to tell it you're not going to discard anything before you get started, and I had forgotten to do that, so that's what I was laughing about here. All right, so we're waiting for, yeah, so I've got False Demon, Masked Wolf, Mist Spirit, Mist Typhoon, and Summon Sleeping Widows. There we go. Now we're starting to zoom up. That should help us a little bit here. Just making everything a little bit easier to read. So because we're capturing on a browser, I think that does impact our resolution quality. I'm going to have to work on browser capture and clarity. All right, so he's going to meditate to begin with here. Discards 1. Loses a Final Cry. threatens double ceremonial daggers, which makes me concerned that he could have Sleeping Widow in his first 5 as well. But I think we're in really good shape if he does have a Sleeping Widow, because we could just play Mist Typhoon into it. So that's kind of the things I'm thinking about, like Noah's Wolf and Widows, like being able to sweep the board late in the round to give me that open turn 2 shot is sort of a plan. But he goes ahead and he goes Hammer Knight out he gives me Hammer Knight right out of the gate. So I'm going to play the Mist Spirit, and I think I just end. Yeah, I don't think I have any meditation needs right now. I've got a pretty good dice roll and dice spread right out of the gate. We can play the Mist Typhoon. We can play the Mist Spirits. Let's play the Widows. So we'll sort of see what he decides to do here. I mean, the first spell he puts down, if it's a reasonably good spell, like I can just block it with my Noah. And sort of, he's going to have to make a decision with his Noah as well as to what is the best thing to block from being summoned. And I don't think he wants to do that with Mist Spirits. So he plays a False Demon. That makes a pretty obvious decision for me as to what I want to do, because I just don't want to give the False Demon free pings, because all my units are 1 life units. And so it doesn't really work out if I don't keep the demon off the board. So he plays a Root Armor on the Hammer Knight. That's going to make things really hard to deal with the Hammer Knight. Makes me wish that I would have gone ahead and first 5 day a Steady Gaze instead. But I'm just going to go ahead and shadow target his False Demon book for the reason I was already talking about. And then pretty sure I'm going to summon Mist Spirits here. But I think maybe I go with my own False Demon book. Yep. I could have played Mirror Spirit, or I could have played my Mist Spirit there, and I think he would have tried to attack into a Mist Spirit to try to overkill, and so I could have forced the exhaustion of the Hammer Knight here early and open up the board for a counterattack. It's going to be very difficult to deal with that Hammer Knight until we draw into some of the tools that we have. Okay. So I don't think he's going to pressure with Hammer Knight yet, because he's just got an alert wall there. Right? And if I play Mist Spirits, he doesn't have to exhaust to defend. So like, it doesn't actually do me good to play the Mist Spirit, other than hoping to try to bait him into an attack on my Mist Spirit. So we'll see what he decides to do with his Noah here. We have tools in the deck for dealing with a Hammer Knight and dealing with particularly a Root Armored Hammer Knight. It's just going to be a matter of whether we can draw them in time. The first step in that draw is to get the Steady Gaze and exhaust it out so that it can't be a defender. And then the next step of that is to go ahead and fade it away. All right, so he plays a Masked Wolf, plays his own Mist Spirit book. I'm going to summon a couple of Mist Spirits here. My Conjuration pile is, yeah, because we resized. All right. So we play a couple of Mist Spirits. The idea here is to create an overwhelming board. Now, like, he's going to be trying to do very similar things with his own Mist Spirits. And so we need to continue to force him to do very similar things. But I don't play a side action Masked Wolf yet. I could, but I still think I want to try to get his Mist Spirits on the board, force them to exhaust so that my own False Demon can hit it, unless he's going to go ahead and use Noah to stop the False Demon book. He goes ahead and summons a Mist Spirit here. He's going to summon 2 just like I did, so he's still got board advantage on me, and really good board advantage with the Hammer Knight. right? Like he's potentially capable of attacking into the Mist Spirit, forcing a double exhaust, and going from there. So there's sort of an interesting, like I want him to play the wolf, right? Like that's what I really want him to get, is the wolf out. So if I play just False Demon, he comes into a point where he can attack me, but I still am able to then essentially 3-for-1 him with the Mist Typhoon. So we're just going to get it before Noah can end the book's life, and then we'll let him force the exhaustion on my own Masked Wolf now. So, like, I'm not going to get to play Masked Wolf in round 1 against Noah. That's okay. I think we're in a really good position where we can make a lot of units and still overwhelm the board. And the fact that I can Mist Typhoon away his entire board here, like, he doesn't attack favorably. I mean, like, to go all out, like, I can trade him 1-for-1 on all the units. Or I can just take the damage and wipe the board and then get a free swing on his entire board state. Might block 1 just to make the Widows for the counter. There's a lot of different play patterns here, so I think it's hard to see exactly what is the correct play, but I think it's easier to see what happens once we know exactly what Chaosmonkee decides to do. He's really only got a handful of things left. His dice allow him to play the Masked Wolf. They allow him to exhaust my Masked Wolf, which is what he does here. And they still allow him to Nature Ping as well, but he's not going to be able to do that this turn. So we kind of have to force... he's going to have to force some damage now because he used the Noah to exhaust my Wolf. I think he didn't want me to have a Wolf to attack, which is, I think, the right play. But it does slow down his deck considerably. And he's going to attack the False Demon with a Mist Spirit. And I don't want to counter here. I just want to take the 1 point of damage. Oh, I do counter. Okay. It's interesting. I don't know if countering there was the correct play. But I think I'm hoping that he'll kill my demon now and give me Widows on his turn. So we're in a position now where, yeah. I don't think we can attack yet. Well, I do attack. I'm not sure this is the right play, but because he can just counter with the Hammer Knight with Alert, and that's just a big misplay. Because even playing the Widows into the Nature, like he just can snipe a Widow away now. So it's just not. It's not correct. This is not correct. This is a mistake on my part. I think he wants to hold the, I mean, like, there's no reason to not block with the Hammer Knight because it has Alert. And so I go ahead and play the Widows, but end of the day, like, the downside to playing the Widow there is now he can use the Nature Die to ping one of the Widows away, and I don't get as much damage in on the Noah. All right, so for some reason the game state got a little funky and Noah took an exhaustion counter. So we're going to correct that here through manual mode. But he did exactly what it was expected. He cracked the Widow. He can still play a Wolf here. And so really, like, playing the Widow was just a 2 dice to make a 2-1. That's not very great. So I think he doesn't want to pass at that particular stage of the game. Like, he would still have to side action, like, False Demon, but he also doesn't really have a main action other than attack, so he may not choose to attack. It's kind of a risky pass if you pass there, but if you do pass, like I still have a Mist Spirit up, I still have a False Demon up, still have Widows for round 2. Yeah, I'm not sure it was correct to attack. That's all I'm gonna say. But I mean, right now I'm still sitting on a board advantage. Yep. So we draw into the Steady Gaze, which is one of the pieces we needed for removal. Now I think my opponent, he just has the opportunity to 2-for-1 me here. He can attack. He can attack my Widow and blow up the Mist Spirit, but I think he's just going to make an all-out attack. And that's probably a mistake on his part. Like, he didn't have to use the Masked Wolf here. He still just out-actioned me round 1. And so I think he would have been able to just, like, take the Hammer Knight, go to town, and that be that. So, because he could have just Hammer Knighted me and taken 2 of my units away, then came back to me, and he takes away my 2 unexhausted units. I have no main action. I have to pass main. He can summon a Masked Wolf and attack directly into a board, and he still gets 2 damage on my PB that way. So... All right, so yeah, he just does an all-out attack. We're gonna defend the wolf, right, and hit with the Mist Spirit and hit done. We're gonna take 3 from the Hammer Knight. The Hammer Knight's gonna go into exhaustion, and now we get a counter swing for 2. So this is probably the literal worst place for him to go. Plus, knowing I have no dice in pool any longer, like the wolf was safe. So I think it was potentially a misplay on his part to just not use the Hammer Knight to eliminate my blockers and then get a free attack with the wolf. Instead, we're just going to trade some damage and yeah. Yep. All right, so we both pass. That's going to be the end of the round. No cards to discard. We definitely want the Steady Gaze. And we end up with 2 Steady Gazes. That's not a super great draw, but we end up with the Steady Gaze and the Fadeaway. And another Mist Typhoon. I think the Mist Typhoon's really good for us here. So we're just going to main action, stop the Hammer Knight before it can run Rickshaw on us. So by going that route, we're just in a position... We have some meditation to do, though, but we go ahead and shadow target the False Demon. We need to get the False Demon down so that he can't make a 2-2. And I use a Ceremonial to pay for this here. We're going to have to do some meditation this round, there's no doubt about it. But we're going to go ahead and shadow target the False Demon book. I feel very adequately prepared to take on Mist Spirits and Masked Wolves, and I don't know what the rest of his hand will look like, but he obviously doesn't know my hand either at that point. So, see, this is where if you use the Hammer Knight last round, right? Like the demon and the widow would be gone, and now the demon and widow are board threats. So I think it was incorrect to attack directly with the Hammer Knight. I think the Hammer Knight was best as an attacker into units last round because of the overkill ability. I think the overkill ability or the aftershock ability, not overkill. The aftershock ability is too powerful to not use there to make a 2-for-1. All right, so Chaos is still thinking through his play here. If he ends up in a position where he's making a big unit, like another big unit, I can steady gaze that unit away as well. It just buys me enough time to potentially win the game. That's all we're trying to do with steady gaze. Obviously, with fade away, we can eventually remove the unit if it becomes a problem. The fact that he summons a Mist Spirit from hand first is interesting to me because I don't know, or from the board, because I don't know whether or not he's actually got good threats in hand. I don't know what that looks like. So it changes my play pattern because I could 2-for-1 him with a Mist Typhoon into Mist Spirit. But again, going back to that plan of like, okay, we want to try to get board advantage where we can get board advantage. He's holding that board advantage now, but we're equal, right? Because the Hammer Knight's exhausted. So I think he's going to be forced to play a Masked Wolf into this board. And, I'm not sure he wants me to get another False Demon. I can see that being a real problem for him as well. All right, so he does play a strength. He discards a Strengthen to meditate. Okay. So he's threatening me with that. So we meditate top of deck, get a Ceremonial in place. We have to meditate top of deck to get that. We meditate again. We meditate again. So we do 3 meditations to get our illusion cycle set up. And then we now have all the dice we need to play cards from hand for the remainder. And I think my mistake here was summoning 2 Mist Spirits instead of playing the False Demon. Although I guess leaving Master Wolf and False Demon threatening sort of threatens his board with, okay, are you going to use Noah's Shadow ability here? Or are you going to make a wolf? Like, all of those things are possibilities. And it just really depends on cards in hand. Obviously, we don't know cards in hand. So, but we're set up to Final Cry Noah here. That turns our health pools back to equal again. Meaning there's no advantage there. I don't have to play the Fade Away this turn. So I can still play Final Cry. I can still play Mist Typhoon. And still summon a Masked Wolf. And from there, also still get out. Can't get out the False Demon. So he has to decide, like, I'm threatening False Demon, right? I'm threatening Masked Wolf. I can play both of those things in his board right now, and I don't have to play Steady Gaze, and I don't have to play Mist Typhoon. But, I may want to. We'll see. See what he decides to do. So he plays an Ironworker. Yeah, so the Ironworker is an interesting conundrum because the Mist Typhoon doesn't kill the Ironworker, so I kind of want to see if he'll let me exhaust the Ironworker with a Mist Spirit, or he's going to let Noah tank it, like, cool, like I can take another Mist Spirit at the Ironworker again, and I'm literally setting up like a 3 or 4-for-1 with this Mist Typhoon that's in hand. So he exhausts the demon book. Yep, that's what I thought, if I remembered correctly. So my thought process is here, let's try to force what looks like a favorable attack, but he has to counter. And if he doesn't, like the Ironworker just takes one, and I still keep my Mist Spirit up. He can block it with Noah and force me to do this again next round. I'm fine with both of those exchanges. If the Mist Spirit dies, I get to deal 2 to Noah through the Final Cry. I'm fine with all of those interactions, right? Like those are all reasonably decent interactions. So he just goes ahead and lets my Mist Spirit ping his worker for 1. And I think his thought process probably is, I have to do it again, and he can block the other one, so the Ironworker is just going to live, and with Recover 1, the Ironworker is not going to die. So I'm telegraphing now the Mist Typhoon, if he's thinking about it, right? If he's not thinking about it, then he plays a Summon Master Wolf and just attacks me, and I have to decide if I'm going to take that damage or not. And it's an interesting sort of like trade, right? Like, because I can counter with 6 of my own. He's going to attack for 4, 6 of his own. So if I take 6, I go to 10. And if I take him and deal 6 to him, he goes to 8 plus the Final Cry. So he's going to try to do the same thing he did last turn, but I'm going to take the guard here again on Noah, because I want the demon to stand up still. And we'll see if he side actions a Master Wolf here or not. He does not. So, so I'm going to force the attack into Noah and see if I can kill one of his units or if he's just going to take the 2. And this is really just buying time. I don't want to... I'm not really trying to be really aggressive, but I'm the idea here is that I don't want to commit my whole board. And I did tell Chaos I debated with attacking with all, but he's going to go ahead and let the Mist Spirit take the hit. The demon and the spirit will trade. But now I get my Final Cry trigger, which is a favorable exchange. So we do 2, it's now 4 to 5. Yep. So, again, he can make the Masked Wolf, but he knows he's not going to get damage in because he's going to force blockers, and I can still make my own Masked Wolf. So, you know, I'm still threatening 4 dice and 3 cards as well. He's got 5 dice and 3 cards. His threatening is better than mine. Like, he's in a better position than me. All right, so I think now that he has board position, yeah, it's still my turn. Yeah. It's still my turn. Okay. So I think at this point, like, he's outnumbering me and got an ability to put 2 more damage on me. So, like, I just make the Masked Wolf, maybe. Yeah, I do make the Masked Wolf, and there we go. And we hit end turn, and then we now match 3 for 3. He's got the opportunity now just to play his Masked Wolf and attack and still get like board advantage, and that's what he's going to do. So there's a really interesting conversation to have here. I don't think I can go to 13. Like, if I go to 13, life, I just die to a Molten Gold, and with his dice spread, Molten Gold's just going to be a real thing. So he's sending the whole squad. I can't do anything about the whole squad, so I can't take 8 because 8 takes me to 13 and get 1 Molten Gold and it's GG. So I have to block at least 1 here, and I can block with the Mist Spirit and take out like a Widow. It doesn't really matter what I take out here because I'm going to Mist Typhoon his board away. So Mist Spirit's going to stand in front of a Widow. I'm going to take 6 and go to 11. 11's important here because it's just too far away for Molten Gold. It's going to take 2 Molten Golds to beat me. Now, if he draws both Molten Golds next round, like, I guess I lose. But if he doesn't, then I think we're going to round 4, and I think I am favored if we go long. All right, so board exhausted, I go to 11. I'm going to Mist Typhoon now. I'm going to draw a card. I draw my own Hammer Knight. Can't play the Hammer Knight this round, obviously. But it's potential that I could have saved the damage and just, like, used Mist Typhoon earlier and only faced the Mass Wolf. And that may also be a misplay where, you know, like, we just don't end up in that position. So he meditates away a Molten Gold. But that's why we... The Molten Gold is exactly the reason why we did what we did. So now if he draws a Molten Gold, one of 2... I mean, I'm assuming there's 3 Molten Golds in the deck, so 2 Molten Golds out of 17. Pretty good chance that he's going to hit on a 4 or 5 card draw. So it's currently 14 to 8. So far, it looks like the nature version may be the moneymaker here as far as winning the game. But we're going to go into round 3. He's going to take the first player token. I discarded the Steady Gaze. I think that's probably a mistake in the end, but you know, Shifty Miss is a nice card here for us. Fade Away is going to take the Hammer Knight away. Anchornaut's a good response card to his own Mist Spirit. But I think we can just double Hammer Knight this round too, and I think that's probably GG if you double Hammer Knight. I think he didn't get the Molten Gold, because if he gets the Molten Gold, he just wins, right? Like, he can just go meditate, win. So the fact that he can't beat me here tells me there's no Molten Gold in the 5 cards. It gives me a chance to come out on top here, because I think we can push to round 4, and if I go first in round 4, I think I have it in my wheelhouse to win at that point. So it's going to be close here. I mean, the fact that he didn't get Molten Golds is the difference maker whether or not this game is over now or not. So if we were expecting it, so he drops a Mist Typhoon off through meditation. That makes me happy, because right now his best play would be to clear the board, because otherwise I can just... Okay, so he meditates, plays a Hammer Knight. All right, second copy of Hammer Knight, and this is where I wish I'd have just kept my Steady Gaze last round. So, best thing I can do is play my own Hammer Knight. Spend that die because we don't need it. And then use Noah Book to stop his False Demon. Okay. So we spent 4 dice, there's 3 dice. Essentially had very similar turns. I mean, the plan is the Shifting Mist here. I believe the plan would be the Shifting Mist, because if we Shifting Mist, it costs 1 illusion, and then we can correct the Ceremonial to play the other Hammer Knight. And we still have the ability then to play a Masked Wolf and the Fadeaway. And so I think that's ultimately the plan in order to get 2 Hammer Knights on board. He's going to Anchornaut away something here. Anchornaut's away the Wolf. Anchornaut's, I mean, I think it's a good play. You obviously don't want, you have to put something on the board because you don't want me to just like roll over the top of you. You're far enough ahead though that I probably can't. I think he's debating whether he should summon a Masked Wolf now or Shadow Target. Shadow Target is the correct play to stop the False Demon. He doesn't know that I don't have the dice to play False Demon with what's in my hand, so you have to just make that assumption that that's the correct play. I have a little bit of time now. I don't need to meditate. Like, I guess I'd go ahead and meditate just to be faster. I suppose that's okay over the Shifting Mist. So I just want to present the board in a way that makes him concerned about what to do about double Hammer Knight. So right now we possess the board math to deal with everything going on. We just have to see if my opponent makes a play mistake here. Because he can force Hammer Knight 1 to attack into his own Hammer Knight. Exhaust my Hammer Knight. His doesn't exhaust. And then attack directly. And so he does choose to attack, and that's an interesting choice. And I think that's probably a mistake, because I think even though he only had 1 Hammer Knight to my 2, yeah, we're going to counter there. Because we can counter for free. So now, like, I can just take the 3 damaged Hammer Knight. Like, he can ping it away with nature. That's a side action. And I think that's what he's thinking, is he can trade, you know, an extra die to kill the Hammer Knight here and take one of my threats away. he can still make the Mist Spirits. So I want to buy some time. And just ping his Hammer Knight away with an Anchornaut and tell him to go. So now he's really kind of in a position where he has to play the Masked Wolf and play the Mist Spirits, and that's about all he's got left in his turn. Not sure what else in the master set for a single nature die. Like, he'd have to meditate into it. He has more dice, more cards. I mean, those are all threatening positions, but you're still just making calculated decisions based on what they are presenting you, what your opponent presents you, and this is Mist Spirit, and this is Masked Wolf. So there comes the Mist Spirits. And so we're now equal on units. Essentially equal on units. I can 2-for-1 with the Hammer Knight. Yeah, this is ultimately a mistake, but we can't cancel the attack. Like, once it's selected, we can't clear it. So unfortunately. So we aftershock the Mist Spirit and call it a day. So I'm just going to live with the mistake. I don't know if it's a super big mistake. He's got a really interesting decision because he can make Masked Wolf and just attack my Noah. He plays down a Butterfly Monk, but and he does have the ability to make the Butterfly Monk. That's a problem probably overall. So we're gonna fade away the. And the reason I'm playing the Masked Wolf here. The reason I played Masked Wolf here like this was to force him to decide whether he's going to meditate into the Butterfly Monk or meditate and try to. Like, he doesn't have enough time to meditate and kill my Masked Wolf here, so I just want to get the Masked Wolf on the board. He's going to play his own Masked Wolf, I'm pretty sure. He fades my Hammer Knight away. So we're going to attack for 5, but only get 3 in, so we'll take to 11. The good news is nothing's going to die in that exchange. That puts him 5 away, and I have the ability then to go scale up to 5 again. 5 clear damage through Yep. So he's got to put a Hammer Knight or the Anchornaut in front of something. Doesn't matter what, but just something. Masked Wolf or Sleeping Widow. I deal 3, take him to 11, 5 away, play another Wolf at the top of round 4 and win the game. And that's all we can really do. I mean, we're going to Exaxi unless he's got something to do here. I think even if he shoots with the nature die instead of making a butterfly monk, shoots a wolf, I still attack for 5 and win then. So because he'll have no units on board at the end of the round. So I think there's not an out for him. I mean, even playing the butterfly monk. So he kills the masked wolf instead of playing a butterfly monk. Yep. So that's exactly how it worked out. We were able to do the exact number to win the game. So if he doesn't ping the wolf away and he plays a butterfly monk instead to have the 1 unit. So yeah, I mean, because if he summons the butterfly monk, we're going to pause here because that's the end of the game. But if he summons the butterfly monk, just so you understand the rules interaction, you choose the order of attack resolution. I don't think you have to resolve the guards first. So you can resolve the attackers that would hit for 5 before the monk would die. And so because of that, you would still win the game. But even if not, I think we're still in a position to win this game on that, unless he gets the Molten Gold. So anyways, it's a really close game. It was an awesome mirror match. I was lucky to claw my way back out of it. And I just appreciate Chaosmonkee being a sport and letting me record the game, and for just having a great game. One of the best games of Ashes I've played. So that's going to do it for this video. We appreciate all of you that are following us, watching our content. If you like this video, nothing like a thumbs up to tell us, hey, we're doing a good job. If you really love our content, we can't thank you enough if you choose to subscribe. And we will be back with more Ashteki coverage, as well as more TTS coverage, some deck techs. We got a lot of stuff in the works. So stick with us. We'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody, for watching, and be good to each other.